Welcome to the Ward's Way Podcast.
Thank you, Alex.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex. So we're here today for the Ward's Way podcast, and I'm here with my new friend, Aaron, the qualified captain.
Yep.
Qualified captain.
Qualified captain. Appreciate it.
Tell me all about it. How'd you get started? How did you become the qualified captain?
It's an interesting story. It was kind of a joke at first. We'll go back. I was working at a marina right out of college.
Okay.
I got a degree as a marine technician. So
Okay.
worked at a marina. I was driving a forklift, running boats around. And then...
and where was that? Here?
No, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay. Okay.
And it kind of started there. Me and my buddies saw a bunch of crazy stuff on the water, especially at the marina, like people coming back trying to dock their boats.
I can imagine.
And I had all this content on my phone. I was like, let's just make a goofy page. Couldn't think of the name. We're like, what are we going to name this thing? And then some of the qualified captain came about, and I had all this built up content of people crashing to the docks, fuel spilling all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, and we would always try to help. We weren't always trying to make fun. I wouldn't say make. Yeah, we were. Let's just be straight up.
But at the same time, you do want to offer help. Yeah.
That's the thing. We always did. We would always go down there, and a lot of people get defensive. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Right.
Like, I know we know what we're doing. I'm like, okay, best of luck.
Well, not based on what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go back in the dock office with all the tinted windows and throw up a camera. So that's where the content started. And then all of a sudden, I got like 2,000, 5,000 followers. And then people started sending us content. And it was just dumping in. Like my inbox is filling up.
And like what kind of content? Like what do we do in this situation? Or hey, look at this funny video I had, or what? Yeah,
it was that. And it was more like, then we started getting, besides recreational boating, I started getting commercial industry, like people sending me that kind of stuff, like the mishaps that happened in that industry. And then so then it took off. And then I got a job with CETO as a CETO captain, and I was like, wow, now I'm really seeing everything.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So we covered a lot of ground over the years. And then in 2020, during COVID, when everybody bought a boat, that's when we really got busy. And when we got I was just bombarded, and I decided to make a tough decision. I left my jobs, took this on full time because we were doing really well on Instagram and selling merch and all this stuff. But I told myself in 2020, I was like, I got to do something besides just posting entertaining content, which it still is entertaining, but we're telling people like, hey, listen, guys, this is what not to do.
Right.
Before you go and buy a $500,000 boat and give it to your 15-year-old son, whatever the situation may be, educate yourself and and utilize the technology and tools and stuff that we even sell on our website to become a better waterman all around. Mm-hmm. And
so they don't end up on your videos.
Yeah, exactly. And also so they don't die. I mean, there's people dying.
On a serious, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
And it's serious though. It's out of control. I mean, we talked about this yesterday with Alex. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of the stuff that happens in the water isn't really publicized a lot, and we share it. And I got people all the time that call me or tell me like, hey man, never thought this kind of stuff could happen in the water. Like, thank you for raising awareness. So that's our goal moving forward, is to build a safer community, but also keep the entertainment, right? Because like, if I lose the entertainment, I'm going to lose the engagement. They're not.
I agree. People need to be engaged. And then when you have them, then you can provide that proper education and prevention of accidents. So tell me, what are some of your top tips on safety, number 1, 2, and 3 that you would like to give that advice? Here's a shout out.
So number 1, I would say, first, just take a course. Every state,
like a navigation, boating course.
Boating safety course. Like every state's different, but some states, like I think Florida, I think if you're over the age of, I think it's like 30 or so, whatever the age is.
There is a birth year, and then it just gradually continues.
Where you don't need to have anything
at all.
So my best advice is take a course, know the rules of the road, get the basics. And then when you buy a boat, and if you really don't know what you're doing, there's so many captains all over the place. And if anybody has any questions, I mean, check out our website. I've got a list of captains all over the country that can, give you a hands-on training. So that's one. I would say that education. Two is learn a lot of educate yourself on how to, let's say worst case scenario, like somebody gets a huge laceration on the water, or you have somebody that has a heart attack, whatever. Know how, or the boat's going down. Know how to be prepared for those situations, and know not to panic. You know, if anything, and stuff happens to the best captains out there. I don't care
Agreed.
whether you've had a boat for a year or whatever. Stuff can happen, and it's how you handle those situations that makes you,
Agreed.
you know, a safe captain. So,
And also when it's your family, if it's something happens and you're out there with your little kid, you know, your emotions are going to be all over. So the more you know and the more you train.
Yep. And you also got to remember too, like you're the only one out there until you get to land to get professional assistance. So it's on you to get somebody home safe and hopefully make it. So yeah, I mean, get CPR certified, know how to use a tourniquet, and really just, I'm not trying to scare anybody away at all, but just think worst case scenario. If you're going to go fishing, if you're going to go like on a long travel, 50 plus miles, whatever it is. So that, and then I would say, you know, educate yourself also with technology. There's so much technology out there too.
Sure.
Like don't rely on it, but utilize it to your advantage because it's there. So
one of the best advices, I listened to a Coast Guard seminar, and one of the things they were talking about is, first off, you have to plan to be in the water 3 hours.
Yeah.
Even if you know, let's say your boat's going down, what have you, and you have all the safety gear, that it's not like, even if they can fly out and they can see you in a helicopter, the number one thing they talked about was the EPIRB that the boats have, which is, there was a time when I could have told you the acronym, what it meant, but emergency position indicating radio beacon. All right, good. You got it. Good. That's why you are the qualified captain.
Well,
but that don't register it to your office.
Yeah, no.
And or a PO box. Like, it needs to be registered, but it needs to go to a cell phone to somebody who will answer the phone.
Actually,
and 90% of the times, they don't.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. We just had a spearfishing tournament in Wrightsville Beach, and I was in it. And one of my buddies' EPIRBs went off by accident, and it happens. He had a PLB. It's a personal locating beacon that you can put on your belt or whatever. And his went off, and he had he had family members crying and stuff. But obviously it was out by mistake, but
still, at least it went to the family.
Exactly.
At least it went to the right numbers. That many times they go to office lines and it goes to a voicemail.
Exactly.
And it's like, that didn't help anybody.
And that's what I mentioned earlier, like technology. Like, I mean, every boat, in my opinion, especially if you're going outside of cell phone range, like you got to have an EPIRB. We make these trauma kits that we sell.
Okay.
That have a full, like, it's not a normal first aid kit. It's got a whole stop to bleed kit, tourniquets, chest seals, all in a nice Pelican case.
Okay.
I carry those kind of things on my boat, you know, once again, thinking worst case scenario. So
well, it's kind of like even in our cars. I mean, I have a fairly new car. It's probably a year old, but I have one of those jumpers that'll automatically charge your battery.
Yeah.
I'm not just standing on the corner anymore with jumper cables hoping some weird person's going to stop, in the middle of the night. They have things for you. You always have water in your car. You always have, I think it's common. We do it. We have it in our homes. We have smoke detectors. We have all sorts of safety things that it seems like it would be common sense to have in our boat. But I do think people focus so much on the fun. And that has not just small boat. That's a super yacht size too issue.
One thing I noticed when I worked at the marina, like recreational boaters, we all have busy lives. We don't have much time to check and make sure everything's good, that it runs good. It's most of the time, let's get the kids on and go out for the weekend,
Sure.
And you don't have time to really check on everything, make sure everything's good. Didn't think about that, and that's when mistakes can happen. But
so I think even though we're in the same industry, our livelihood. So you said that you didn't know anything about Ward's Marine Electric. So
I got a call from Alex, and he said, "Come on by." So
okay, so now here's my elevator pitch. Okay, so you see, it's like the Ward's Way podcast. You're probably like, well, what does that mean? Yeah. So. We're 75 years. I'm third generation. We do marine electric. We don't do electronics.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are specifically in the marine electric, so we provide power, we distribute power, we provide all the parts that are related to that power, from shore power to distribution.
Awesome.
But I would say that our top priorities is safety too.
Yeah.
When you have electric on a boat that's sitting in water, Stray current's not a good thing.
No, and
electrical systems need to be secure as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's a good thing to talk about. Every Friday, we usually try to do a qualified captain tip of the week on our social media pages. And that'd be something cool we can maybe do in the future is talk about like electrical currents in the water, because a lot of guys I know at least they bottom clean boats and they dive. And I mean, it's relatively safer in salt water.
It is
fresh.
correct.
But with that being said, though, I'd like to make, that's a good idea. Maybe you guys can give us a little, like, not now, but one day down the road, and come a little video and I'll share it, because a lot of people now are like, well, screw it, I can dive. I'll just do it myself,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're right. Salt water is better because it's a less conductive carrier of electric. But to this day, I will give the piece of advice: if your sunglasses fall in the water in the marina, let them go. Go get a new pair. Don't jump in after them. You never know.
I've heard of stories. I've seen it. I've gotten the articles sent to me online, and and that's something I need to educate myself. I hate electricity.
Well, no, you don't hate it. You have a healthy fear, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if everybody had a healthy fear, they would prioritize it. And then you make sure that it's never something you have to interact with, and it's something that you take care of.
I'm terrified of getting
And so our Ward's Way stands for it. For us, there's obviously a wrong way to do things. There's a right way, and then there's a Ward's Way. We always try to take things up to the highest level.
What else do you? So I mean, literally everything, right? I mean,
so we started off as just my grandfather worked after World War I.
Oh, wow.
Worked in the bean fields in the Everglades, but really loved boating. And in Fort Lauderdale, back in the late 40s, everything closed on Wednesday to go fishing. Everybody went fishing. All businesses closed. Everybody did it for their families. It was just obviously a simpler time.
Yeah.
And so he was like, listen, I got to figure out a way to do this generator boat thing together. And he did. And he was also a pilot. So he would fly over to the Bahamas to work on boats, because back then boats really didn't stay in Florida. And in fact, the Marine Industries Association of South Florida, which owns the boat show, was formed in 1961 because they tried to convince the city to have 15 amp dock power at its city marina so that the boats would stay overnight. And that's why the association formed, to have a united voice to keep the boats here.
Okay.
So imagine 15 amp service. Like, you couldn't even run the hair dryers anymore on the boat.
But they're just pioneering, I guess.
It was. And so then we started carrying, we started distributing parts worldwide. We started off service. We still have service. We do engineering, so we can do design from stem to stern for new builds. We can do refits. We work with builders on super yachts and sport fish.
That was my next question. Like, what's your main, I guess, like, I don't know, it sounds like bigger boats, like yachts. And
well, I'll tell you, though, one of our best niches is working with the sport fish builders. We do a lot with Spencer, with Bayless, with Merritt, with Jim Smith, with Michael Rybovich and Sons. And a lot of that is because these sport fish boats, a lot of them have super yacht owners. They want to, plug in. But everything that used to be like kind of rotary switch and keep it easy, and the boat doesn't need, is so much more complicated. And the electrical requirements for these sport fish, that they also want to go dark when they're, anchored off of Costa Rica. They don't want to be running generators all the time. So electrical power management systems have become critical on a lot of these sport fish. So we do a lot with the sport fish builders.
Have you guys start messing with solar much?
No, but it has come to us. We work with a company, Xantrex, that's owned by Mission Critical.
Yeah, I've heard,
And so they're coming out with some new solar power equipment. And, we've interacted with it. We've installed. We've worked with. We haven't done a lot of integration with it, but I see it coming.
Yeah.
It's coming more and more.
That's something I always wondered too. Like, there's a place by us off of Wrightsville Beach that we go and dive at. It's called the Frying Pan Tower. It's an old Coast Guard tower. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but we now have it basically almost. By the end of this year, it should be 100% run off solar.
Oh wow!
And he's got the battery room that's insane. The whole setup is incredible. And I don't know too much about it. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of electricity.
leave it to others.
Yeah.
Just remember wards now. So
I would love to learn more. I really would. I never something. I mean, I could wire a basic 18-foot boat and stuff like that, but I just don't like to. It's like I said, I know it's scared. I don't like. I got lit up once and I just did not like it.
Well, you probably did something wrong.
Yeah, I absolutely did something wrong. Yeah.
The other thing I will tell you that we look for, how you have tips. We did it's called a blue tape. So if you ever see blue tape in your engine room, that's a problem. We always say that to people. We should build
a little video one day like that I can share, whether it's you or whoever, and just, like a random little tip that not many people know about. It'd be kind of cool.
For example, like one of the things, like we would attend these charter broker events, and a lot of the charter brokers are very similar to you, like, do not start talking to me about electric. I am so not interested. And I'm like, I get it, but you want to know what can ruin a charter is that lighting doesn't work, or maybe one of those generator goes out and all the hair dryers won't work before dinner, or what about if the galley or the wine cooler? It's all electric.
Oh, trust me, it's. I've had issues. I'm still having issues. We'll talk about that later.
Absolutely.
I need new lights.
Okay, lighting is definitely one, and we work with a company, Total Lux, that's providing lighting in our booth right here and some things like that. But I tell the charter brokers, if you go to a charter show and you're looking at boats and you see all the boats are plugged into shore power and there's one that's on generator, that's a red flag. Why is that boat on generator sitting at the dock? Well, either they can't plug in or they're having a shore power issue. Walk around. Don't just see how well they can cook. I would make sure that while the galley's going, start turning on washer and dryers. Start running hair dryers and if everything starts tripping, you're going to know what your charter is like.
Yep.
And then also I always say, go in the engine room. If you see any blue tape in any boat in an engine room, especially one that's near a panel that they're holding a breaker, you would see more than not. That's a problem because that breaker should not be tripping and tape is not helping.
Yeah. I've grown up on center consoles, and these center consoles are getting bigger and bigger and more. Like there's a lot going on in these little boats now with seat keepers and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but the wiring job, I gotta give my buddy Brendan a huge shout out. He did a great job on my boat.
Good.
Yeah, we got a 33-foot Onslow Bayless center console. There's one out here, but it is artwork when you look inside these.
It really is, and it's in a very limited space and. Especially on boats, like I said, everybody's wanting their boats to do more. Well, air conditioning would be good. Well, I definitely want my underwater lights. I got to be cool sitting at the dock.
I kept mine pretty simple.
Which is good.
Yeah, I didn't do much. Of course, the fun things like the underwater lights and all that stuff don't work anymore.
Man.
I know, but
we can help with that.
I was good. Now I'm glad I got you.
We can help with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's fun when everything works, but no, electricity's no joke though on the water, and it's like I don't know, something that's I want to learn more about.
Well, I think that then this boat show we're following the networking. We've been put together by Alex, the yacht guy, who connected us to be able to help each other. So I think this is a great opportunity.
Absolutely. And once again, too, if you guys have any tips, let's combine or let's work together one day, create some videos and share that on our page, because electricity is one thing that I haven't really talked too much about. And it is a serious hazard too. I mean, kills people all the time. So
it can. And it is so simple at times to correct. And there's so many very simple things that you could do to be able to just, I would recommend to everybody have a meter, keep a meter around. Electric doesn't lie. Yeah. It's very factual. It's very black and white. So if you understand how to have a meter and you can read things and look, you can detect problems and you'll know that is not right.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to identify it right away. Even if I know that's not right, I need to call.
Yeah.
Batteries and battery chargers are another big issue. People think all lithium batteries are the same, all AGM batteries are the same, all battery chargers. They're not. They need to be paired together. They need to be bought at the same time. Don't update. That's another tip. Don't update.
We need to write all this down.
Hey, it's recorded.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Right, we'll just do it. But it's true.
No, but really,
buy all the batteries at the same time.
Yeah, I mean.
And buy a charger that's has the right settings. There are multiple settings on the charger that's charging the right batteries the right way.
Yeah.
Easy. 90% of the time when the batteries die, maybe they only replace 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not going to be the same batteries, and people don't pay attention to that. They're not like AAAs or AAs. It doesn't matter whether it's Kirkland brand or.
Is there any batteries that you recommend? There's a couple new. I get people reach out to me all the time about these new batteries that are like in the industry now, and I don't know.
A lot of them are really good. My thing would be just to make sure that the equipment that you're using if they're your starter batteries or they're your house batteries, use the batteries that are called for by the manufacturer. Seems easy.
Yeah.
And then make sure that if you get a bank, they're the same brand, same lot number, same battery type.
Okay.
And then a charger is set to manage that bank properly. It's really that simple. And 99% of the battery problems, they don't match and the charger's not matching to them. And then it's just a problem and all the batteries end up dying. And then people are like, oh, these are terrible batteries. No, they just weren't the right ones.
It's the one thing that'll ruin everybody's day on the weekend. Yeah.
It does. Absolutely. Agree. If your beer's hot and the air conditioning's not working, nobody wants to be on your boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Aaron. Thank you for taking this time. And,
thank you guys.
And really, you're such a social media icon, so I appreciate you being a part of the Ward's Way Season 2 podcast. And thanks for being here. Hope you have a great show.
I appreciate it.
Look forward to doing some videos in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.